Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2026, and the time now is 6 p.m., and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023, by resolution number 21-R-2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website in designated posting places 24 hours prior to this meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings and public hearings. The guidelines are available online and on the entry table. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda for persons in attendance at Town Hall to address the board. The first is limited to items on the agenda, and the second public comment opportunity allows any subject, whether it is on the agenda or not, to be addressed. If you have comments during the public hearing tonight, comments will be taken during that item. Melissa, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Crane. Trustee Hagan.
Here.
Trustee Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, April 13th, 2026, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Please join me in a moment of silence for Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is tomorrow, April 14th, 2026. Thank you very much for your time. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you once again. Next will be review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I move to approve the agenda as is.
A second.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Melissa.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have an agenda for this evening's meeting. Next will be our staff report by our town manager. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustees, you have my report. I just have 2 additional things I wanted to bring up. First of all, a couple months ago, you may recall that Caitlin Newbanks got promoted. She was a recreation coordinator and she became the recreation supervisor. So that left her position open, and we put it open for about 3 weeks, and I'm happy to announce that Clara Ducci, who works at the front desk, was selected for that position. So kind of honoring whoever works at that front desk often moves into another position, but we've just had so many internal promotions, and she's really excited. She played basketball in college, so she's really excited to go to work over there. So that means we'll have an opening at the front desk, but I thought you'd like to hear that. So that's exciting news. And then I wanted to ask Lorelei to come up just to talk quickly about our Arbor Day and how we're celebrating it this year.
Okay. So I did put it in a couple of different reports, and it is on the website. But as you know, we've celebrated Arbor Day a wide variety of ways throughout the past few years. We've had planting sessions with the Board of Trustees. We had a planting and educational session with preschoolers out in Town Park. The last few years, we have had free tree vouchers available to the public. With the public awareness of the drought and water restrictions highly likely throughout the state. We wanted to be conscious of that. And so this year we'll be hosting a pot painting class over at the community center. We're partnering with Sweet Flower, and she'll come in and host the class. We're also partnering with Renee's Garden for flowering seeds. We're going to have some tree seeds available too, with instructions on how family members can paint their pot, take it home, and then get something to grow in it. So this is our way of celebrating this year. And that event will be held on May 8th from 4 to 7. We are requiring registration. It's also right before Mother's Day, so it kind of gave us an opportunity to highlight that, and families are welcome to come in and do something special for their mother and celebrate Arbor Day. Happy to answer any questions.
Will that be at the community center?
It is at the community center.
Thank you.
yeah.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions or comments for Helen tonight? All right. Seeing none, thanks for your report. We'll move on to our proclamation. The first one is Work Zone Safety Awareness Week, April 2024, 2026. It's a mouthful. Trustee Cartwright, will you please read the proclamation?
Proclamation National Work Zone Awareness Week 2026, April 20th through 24th, 2026. Whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week, NWZAW, is an annual spring campaign held at the start of construction season to encourage safe driving through highway work zones. And whereas the 2026 National Work Zone Awareness Week is held April 20th through 24th with the theme Safe Actions, Safe Lives, highlighting that both roadway workers and motorists play a vital role in safety. And whereas highway construction and maintenance are essential for maintaining safe, functional infrastructure, yet these activities expose workers to dangers from passing traffic, construction equipment, and shifting traffic patterns. And whereas work zone accidents often result from inattention, speeding, and distracted driving, with hundreds of workers and motorists losing their lives nationwide in work zone crashes annually. And whereas this year's theme, Safe Actions, Safe Lives, reminds all drivers that their choices behind the wheel, staying alert, slowing down, and avoiding distractions can mean the difference between life and death for workers and fellow motorists. And whereas the town of Mead urges motorists to obey posted speed limits, eliminate distractions such as mobile phones, and use caution when approaching work zones. Now, therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of the Town of Mead, does hereby proclaim the week of April 20th through 24th, 2026 as National Work Zone Awareness Week and calls upon all residents to participate in Go Orange Day on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026 by wearing orange to show support for work zone safety and to honor the dedicated men and women who work to improve our roadways. Given this under her hand of seal at the town of Mead, Colorado, on this 13th day of April, 2026.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
Make a motion to approve the Work Zone Safety Proclamation.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Next is our second proclamation for this evening. It's Mead Arbor Day, April 24th, 2026. And I've asked Trustee Schranz to read the proclamation.
Proclamation for Mead Arbor Day, April 24th, 2026. Whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed in Nebraska with the planting of more than 1 million trees, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance economic vitality of business area, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy, wonder, and renewal. And whereas Mead is committed to making the planting and care of trees a priority. And whereas Mead has been recognized as a Tree City USA for the third year in a row by the Arbor Day Foundation. Now, therefore, Colleen Whitlow does hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Mead Arbor Day, given under her hand and seal of the town of Mead, Colorado, on this 13th day of April 26.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I'll move to sign the Mead Arbor Day Proclamation.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. The motion carries, and we'll move on to public comment. The board welcomes public comment at this time for any item on the agenda. We will also take comments on the items not on the agenda during the second public comment item number 10. Please remember that public comment is not intended to be a question and answer session. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. All comments should be directed to the Board of Trustees and not to specific individuals. If you wish to speak during this first public comment period, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Please start by stating your full name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the Board of Trustees. If you are representing a group, you'll have 5 minutes. We ask that all speakers and audience members treat one another with respect and dignity. Let's ensure we maintain a welcoming environment and avoid any actions that could be distracting. Ms. Peters Garcia, do we have anyone signed up for this public comment period number 7?
Not for this public comment.
Okay. Is there anyone here in the public that would like to speak on an agenda item at this moment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are approved with one motion and vote. I want to recognize staff for putting together these items and the board for reviewing them ahead of tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll calls, please, Melissa.
Trustee Shranz,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries, and thank you again, staff, for putting the consent agenda items together for our packet. Next, we'll move on to our Mead Liquor Licensing Authority. We will need a motion to close out the Board of Trustees meeting and convene as the Mead Liquor Licensing Authority. Will someone please make that motion?
I make a motion to close our business meeting and open up the Mead Liquor License Authority.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. I now call to order a public hearing of the Mead Liquor Licensing Authority on Monday, April 13th, 2026 at 6:12 p.m. This is a public hearing for fermented malt beverage and wine license for Aged & Co. Company. Ms. Peters Garcia, are we ready to proceed on this application today?
No, Mayor, the applicant and their attorney have requested that we open and continue the public hearing to a date certain of April 27th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. here at Town Hall.
Thank you very much. Will someone make the motion to open and continue the public hearing for Aged & Co. Company to a date certain, Monday, April 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall?
I move to open the public hearing for Aged & Co. new fermented malt beverage and wine liquor license and continue it per the applicant's request to a date certain of April 27th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the Mead Town Hall located at 441 3rd Street.
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we will need a motion to adjourn the Mead Liquor Licensing Authority and reconvene as the Board of Trustees. Will someone please make that motion?
I move that we close our Mead Liquor Authority
Resume the board.
and resume the board meeting.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Net.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Motion carries. The time now is 6:14, and I will reconvene the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. We have no further general business tonight, so this brings us to our second regular public comment period, which would be for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. We will follow the same guidelines previously stated. I will call on the individuals in the order that they have signed in first. Again, I will ask all speakers and audience members to treat one another with respect and dignity. Melissa.
Yes, we have Brian Fessler.
Okay, sir, you are first to join us. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, good evening, and Board of Trustees. My name is Brian Fessler, and I reside at 16927 McKay Drive here in Mead. I have the honor and privilege of serving as president of the Highlands Mead Metropolitan District, representing over 200 homeowners. Madam Mayor, I respectfully request up to 5 minutes for this large group.
You are granted, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. At your February 9th meeting, I outlined the problem between the town and the developer, and I will briefly restate that again. The deputy town engineer estimates that approximately $1.6 million in remaining repairs and completion work are needed for phase 1 of the Highlands subdivision before this board can grant final acceptance. All prior conditional acceptances for phase 1 that were granted by this board have expired, most recently in 2024. This matter between the town and the developer has now continued for 2 years without resolution. That is the problem. In a metropolitan district, public improvements are constructed by the developer and are subject to inspection and acceptance by the town. Under the subdivision improvement agreement and Mead Municipal Code, the developer remains responsible for completing, repairing, and maintaining these improvements until final acceptance is granted. If the developer fails to meet these obligations, the town is responsible for enforcing them through various measures, such as withholding building permits and certificates of occupancy, drawing on letters of credit, or pursuing other available remedies. The only reason that the district is involved now, prior to final acceptance, is because of the developer's ongoing failures to correct known deficiencies and the town's failure to enforce its requirements. To date, the district has spent more than $250,000 maintaining and repairing public improvements that remain the developer's responsibility until final acceptance by the town. These improvements are used every day by the public, including roads, sidewalks, drainage systems, landscaping, and the box culvert bridge. We expect reimbursement. For the past 2 years, the town and the developer have continued to meet without producing a resolution. The town is at an impasse with the developer, and the deputy town engineer has stated that the developer does not have $1.6 million in letters of credit on file with the town. This creates potential financial exposure for the town, and this board should be concerned given the town's limited financial resources. I implore the board to place this item on a future agenda and start asking for updates from your town staff. What gets measured gets done. I also encourage the town attorney and staff to open a dialogue with me as the president of the district and provide regular updates so that I can pass them along to 200 homeowners. I've asked them to meet and so far have heard nothing, Madam Mayor. At your March 9th meeting, I requested 2 actions. 1, that the town issue a formal written demand to the developer with a firm deadline to complete all the punch list items. And 2, that the town draw on the letters of credit and reimburse the district. When will these actions occur? How much longer are we expected to wait? The residents that I represent deserve transparency, accountability, and a clear timeline. It is past time for action. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Brian, for being here tonight. And thank you all for being here with him tonight. We appreciate your time, Kim. Anyone here that would like to speak to the board? All right. Again, thank you very much for your public comment. We'll move on to legislative update. Sir?
On now? Okay. Mayor Whitlow, members of the board, quick legislative update this evening for you. So at this point, there's about 1 month left in the 2026 legislative session. They're scheduled to end the current term on May 13th. Obviously, as in past sessions, that may be extended. We'll kind of wait and see. The House passed the long bill, or what's referred to, the budget bill, over the weekend. There are several cuts to local government that are included in the long bill in order to assist the state with dealing with the approximate $1.6 billion deficit, including bills that have been proposed to accomplish the following. Number one, a cut of $130 million from Proposition 123 funding. As a reminder, the Prop 123 funding was tied to affordable housing, the state's affordable housing financing fund. Number two, there's a proposed elimination of approximately $10.5 million in state general fund transfers annually to the multimodal transportation fund. There's an elimination of $46 million in state general fund transfers proposed over the next 2 years that would have gone to the local government severance tax fund, which the severance tax fund has been a source of many of the grants that the town of Mead has received in the past 5 years. So that I think would have the impact of unfortunately drying up some of the funds that are available for local government grants. And there's also a proposed elimination of the 3.5% share back of state retail marijuana sales tax revenue. Again, all of these cost-saving measures are things that are included in the current draft of the state's long bill. The Senate is scheduled to take this budget bill up over this coming week. And as I mentioned earlier, there's about a month left in the session, and sometimes the long bill goes right up until the finish line of the session before that's finally approved. I will just quickly note, and I believe that your deputy town attorney, Christie, mentioned this at the last meeting, but the town's legislation that was proposed tied to disconnections from statutory municipalities, that did pass the Senate on third reading on April 2nd. The final vote in the Senate on the floor was 31-2 in favor of that bill. The bill will now be, so it has passed. That bill will now be finalized and sent to the governor for signature. House Bill 261308. This is the lot splitting bill that I think you've heard about from us during this legislative session. That did pass the House, and it has been introduced in the Senate. It was introduced in the Senate on March 27th. It's been assigned to the Local Government and Housing Committee, and it is scheduled for a committee hearing on April 23rd at 1:30. So that will be coming up about 10 days from now. There is also a bill that I believe was mentioned during the last update dealing with traffic safety near schools that will make it easier for school districts and local governments to work cooperatively to deploy speed cameras at or around school zones. There will also be the ability for local governments to close certain streets that are located near the perimeter of a school district to traffic if that's deemed necessary. That has been assigned to the Senate Transportation and Energy Committee and is scheduled for a committee hearing on April 22nd at 1:30 p.m. I believe also there was an update recently on House Bill 261334. That was a bill that was it would have extended the timeline for municipalities to adopt the Colorado Wildfire Resiliency Code from April 1st of this year to December 1st of this year. This was a bill that CML supported. That was actually postponed indefinitely in committee by a vote of 7-6 last week. So that bill is now dead. That will not be moving forward this session. And then I wanted to quickly just mention to all of you for your calendar, if you're interested, there will be a legislative session wrap-up that is scheduled for Tuesday, May 19th at noon. That will be a legislative wrap-up that's coordinated by CML and their advocacy, their entire advocacy team. So if that's something that any of you are interested in, please reach out to me and I'll make sure you have that information about how to sign up. There's also a link to that sign up that's available on the CML website. So happy to stand for any questions, but that's just a quick update. Right.
Questions or comments for Marcus tonight? I just want to say thank you very much for the staff and for Marcus's team to get 1253 passed. I think it was a yeoman's job of getting everybody together and testimonials from CML and working with getting that thing passed. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the board. So thank you. All right. We'll move on to elected official reports. Town trustees have anything to report out? Trustee Schrantz and then Trustee Hagan.
I have a question for staff. I would like to get a better understanding of the relationship between developers and the town. We have heard from citizens in this town that there's issues going on with development, and I'm not sure I understand where we are with that. What responsibilities does the town have? What responsibility does the developer have? And why are we in this mess? So I turn that over as a question.
So what's the mess?
Well, we just heard from a citizen, Mr. Fessler, and their situation going on there. And I'm not sure I understand how we got here, we being the whole group. And I would like to better understand what that relationship is between developers and the town, because I think we're going to have a lot more relationships in the future.
Could I
I'll
ask
over
a
to you.
question?
Yeah, sure.
Are you asking for the specifics of this particular relationship or just relationships in general, or how work flows?
Why are there differences with this particular situation? Is that not what happens in every developer town relationship?
I mean, I don't think it happens in every relationship, but I guess, are you looking for a presentation for how?
No, I don't need a presentation. I need a 50,000 foot overview of the relationship between a developer and a town. Okay, we have heard from a particular development that's having issues with the developer, and I feel for them. I'm not getting answers either. We've been bouncing this thing around for 3 months, and I'm not sure I understand why we're not getting an answer, or because I don't understand that process. So that's what I'm asking for. Why hasn't this Metro District received that $1.6 million through those lines of credit? Why haven't we closed that door?
Well, the Metro District isn't going to receive $1.6 million.
Okay.
What is at issue here, and this is something that it could come up, but this is a particular situation that we're talking about here, and I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much of it is a legal thing. But if you want me to answer generally, the way this works is a developer comes in, they get their public improvements approved through the town, ancillary through their SIA, their subdivision improvement agreement. They are bound to do certain things. What typically happens is they break their development up into sub phases. And while they're building one phase, they put up letters of credit that secure that work so that we know their engineer says how much it costs, our engineer looks at it, so they have something to build, and they start building it, and they move into another phase of development. So it's very typical. You'll see I don't think we have one on today, but typically we come in with preliminarily, we accept the improvements. And then they go through a 2-year warranty period. When they're done, we go from conditional acceptance to final acceptance. Once they gain final acceptance, that means it looks great, everything's up to snuff, the landscaping's done. Often the landscaping trails the rest of the public improvements, meaning sidewalks, streets, curb and gutter, because it usually straddles a season. So you can't put it on warranty at the same time, which is some of what I believe is happening here as well. And then in a perfect world, they'd build a phase, it would come in for conditional acceptance, it would withstand the 2-year warranty, we'd give them final acceptance, and then it's ours. In this situation, from what I can gather, there are multiple phases that have not gained, they haven't passed after conditional acceptance to final acceptance, which the 1.6 million, from my understanding, coming from Erica's team, is an estimate of all the things in the various phases that need to be fixed before they can be put on final acceptance. So that is an issue between the town and the developer that I believe our attorneys are working on. That's one issue. The issue with the Metro District is all these improvements get bequeathed to the Metro District, right? Well, theoretically, they do, except for the roadway improvements, which the town takes care of. But the landscaping in their case is taken care of by the Metro District. And then they have this weird little road that's a private road that has to get plowed and taken care of by the Metro District. So there's a carve out for what the town does and what they do. The problem with this is that it's not done yet. And confounded by it not being done is the Metro District is in the middle of doing things that typically they wouldn't do till it was at final acceptance. This is my understanding. Have I characterized it the way? Yeah. So what, and I understand the frustration, and I have met with them. I mean, I don't think it's fair to say that staff has not met, because we have. But the problem is, it is a bit of a legal conundrum right now, because in the middle of all this, their letters of credit expired. So now we have to compel them to come back and give us the letters of credit, but more importantly, finish the doggone work. It is unique in that most developments that we have dealt with in the time that I've been here, they start and they complete in a little more of a expeditious manner. So they might, for example, Sereno, they came in and they basically built that thing in one fell swoop. So we were able to put it on, we took it off of conditional acceptance sooner than what's going on at the Highlands. The Highlands are also complicated by bad soil. So that's what some of the settling is, and that's what some of the argument is with the staff. But we are somewhat handcuffed in that we have a developer that we're trying to get them to do their obligation, and to some degree they're resisting. So that, in a layman's terms, that's where we are.
And I would just add, for the benefit of the board, and I will just add, now that my microphone is on, for the benefit of the board, that this is not a typical situation. In the vast majority, if not all, except for unfortunately this one development, the town's standard subdivision improvement agreement and our standard form letter of credit is set up as an irrevocable standby letter of credit with an automatic year-to-year renewal. That's just language that we have in all of our letters of credit that are required. This letter of credit that was attached as the exhibit to the existing SIA for this development, unfortunately, was a prior form that was in place prior to the town updating all of the forms. So we have a letter of credit that had a specific termination date, and on top of that, we also had some turnover in the Public Works Department where the individual that was managing and overseeing the letter of credit left. And I think that it may have just been something that unfortunately got missed. But to Helen's point, we are working with the developer. We have sent the demand letter that Mr. Fessler referenced. That has been set. My understanding is that staff met with representatives of the developer this past Friday. I have not had a chance to debrief with my team on how that meeting went, but what I would suggest is that if the board has additional legal questions about how this deal is set up, that we schedule an executive session at a future regular meeting where we can go into executive session under 402(4)B for legal questions, and I can answer some of those and bring you up to speed at that time. Happy to do that. But this is something that is important to the town, and it's important to staff, and it's something we're working on.
Okay. I think I understand everything that has been said. I don't know that I need an executive session for any further, but my last question would be, what's our next step here? So you've explained where we're at. The housing people have explained where they're at. We're kind of in the middle of watching this ping pong match going on. So what's our next step? What happens next? We're going to get a response from the developer?
My understanding is that yes, they are in the process of responding to the town's demands, and we should have that response.
And if that,
I don't know.
and if that response is not an acceptable one?
Well, then we'll be coming to the board to schedule an executive session.
Okay.
To get some guidance from the board in terms of how to approach the issue.
Okay. I'm not attacking. I like
I-
that. I just want to see this come to some sort of conclusion somewhere in the future for the benefit of the town as well as for the benefit of the subdivision.
Yeah.
However it needs to be. So that's all my question is. So
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your responses and your answers.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If
Trustee
I-
Hagan.
if I could
Go
just
ahead.
finish the conversation with, a big part of what happened there is part of why we changed our road standards. And when we go into future discussions about subdivisions, particularly if you get developers that say, these new standards are going to cost us a lot of money, we are putting in place standards that other places have as well that guarantee that we get a much better product when we put that thing on final warranty. So
Yeah, well,
I just wanted to close the story with that because it is a lesson learned. This is a unique situation. This doesn't happen.
Is it because this subdivision was approved so long ago that we were on a prior form?
Or that I
didn't
don't-
have what our new form has? Like, what happened that they ended up with letting that expire when our new form doesn't, it just automatically renews it year to year? Like, how did that happen?
You know what? We're very early on in terms of gathering some of that information, so I can't definitively answer that.
Okay.
it does beg the next question. Thank you for bringing that up. We do have projected subdivisions that have been on our books for a long time, and I'll pick Mead Village as a clear example of that. So when we went through all of this stuff 10 years ago, were we using old forms then? I'm assuming yes. And if so, do we update those forms to current forms so that we don't run into a similar situation with some of these older planned subdivisions that are now starting to bubble up to the surface?
Start getting work done on them.
Right.
I have to ask Marcus if we do. I mean, this is
Yeah.
the standard form of the letter of credit. And
Well, I know, but he's saying that didn't happen with their subdivision. So why didn't it happen with their subdivision? And how do we make sure that all these other subdivisions that are in various different processes of being approved don't also have that old one? Can we go back and check them all? Can we make sure?
Well, first of all, anything that was approved that long ago, anything prospectively is going to have the new form. So I think we're covered there. Anything that may have been that old is going to have to come in and redo all of the cost estimates and update the SIA and through an amendment. So we'd make sure that we would insert that revised form letter of credit into that document at that time.
So the answer to Trustee Harris's question is this won't happen. We'll have the opportunity to update to the latest form so that we're not going to have another subdivision 5 years from now come in and say, that their letter of credit expired.
Right. That's what we're typically, yes, we're usually trying to, pay attention to those details so that we have that automatic renewal language.
How many permits does Highland have left? Are they done? Are they built out?
They've issued all their building permits.
Damn. Why? Like, how long ago was the last permit issued?
I don't know off the top of my head.
This has been going on for 2 years? And you guys could have withheld permits 2 years ago? And nothing was withheld. They just were allowed to just keep on building and do their own thing.
Time for an executive session.
And okay. Yeah, I'd
That's-
like an executive session because I'd like to understand What the hell happened? Why did we not withhold their permits if we knew this was an issue? Their letter of credit expired 2 years ago. We knew they had $101.6 million in repairs to make, and we had nothing to compel them to do it. Why the hell did we keep issuing permits? Okay.
Again, I personally don't have any of that information, but we're happy to schedule a session, and we'll have public works staff, and we'll try to answer those questions to the best of our ability.
I think we ought to do that.
Yeah,
Because there's
that's
clearly a breakdown in our process. Something's not working right. So.
Okay.
We'll give you
great.
time to do that and get that arranged.
Trustee Schranzer, you're finished?
I'm done. Thank
Okay.
you.
Trustee Hagan.
This question is for Helen and I guess generally the board. I had requested some information on how much we spend on legal and what that is included in that, and how that compares to other communities. And we spoke briefly about it, but I was hoping you'd tell the full board so that, we could have that out in the air and go from there.
Do you want me to respond or?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, I was actually, Mayor asked me as well to compile the last year of attorney's fees, and I provided that information to you all. So you all had to look at that. I have been meeting with town managers, and I do this probably every 6 months. And we discuss a lot of things that we have in common, the way we do things, law enforcement and legal matters. All the towns that I've met with do a different way of doing it. They all do it on an hourly basis. And as you know, you have we call it all you can eat plan. Chris Kennedy called it that. So it's really called, I forget, what is it, Marcus?
It's a flat fee arrangement for general counsel.
Yeah, flat fee for general counsel or you can eat. So you pay a flat fee for it. The other towns, they just bill hourly for it. The other towns that I met with do pay substantially less, but they also generally only have 1 or 2 attorneys as opposed to a whole firm working on things. So, I mean, you had asked me what I thought. It may be you want to do an RFP and go out again and look at legal services. You could also do what Milliken did, where they just went in-house. Their fees were getting high, and they decided to hire an in-house attorney. So they went out and hired a single attorney. I think it's something the board ought to consider for a future endeavor, since we are putting out RFPs for, what are we doing at 15, Erica? In public works things. We often do it with a lot of our services like traffic engineering and development review services, just to kind of see where we are and see sometimes it's time for new blood in that. I mean, you've had an attorney here for a long time and you have an established relationship, but it is a possibility, especially with a new board coming in the fall, to look at it that way. And I think the one advantage would be you could set out expectations of what you're looking for. And we've talked about this a lot. Maybe there's a day or two where the attorney's in the town hall that could meet with staff or meet with the board. And other things, just expectations. Everybody has a little different relationship with their attorney. Most of them meet with them fairly often. Some of them want the attorney to be within, 20 miles, like a Northern Colorado one. Some of them want them, to do everything. They need to know water, employment law, police law. Some of them pick different firms to do different things.
Come into the office like at least half a day a week.
Yeah, or something like that,
Or, to the town hall.
Yeah, some of
Not
them
to their
have
office,
a
hopefully
setup where they come in and they go to meetings that day. So, but I looked at it fairly broadly, and then kind of anecdotally, I have been meeting with other towns just to see how that relationship is.
Johnstown's as an comparable, somewhere closer to $10,000 to $12,000 a month, and we're at 20 as the base. And then it says all you can eat, but a lot of the stuff is actually outside of that it's built separately. So I think it's pretty high.
It is, it is. I mean, from what I found,
And no in town hall half day or day.
no, but some of these, the five that I met with so far, it varies from about 6,000 to maybe 12,000 a month. But they're all on an hourly. Not one of them has the flat fee. And I think there's advantages to both. But I would suggest, if the board's interested, to probably set up like two trustees to look at it, and if you want to do an RFP, to help build that RFP the way you want it to be, because this is a direct report to you.
Like, I'd like to make a comment about that, because prior to the current legal people that we had an attorney here who was with us for 25 years. And he was on an hourly basis. And we had the same exact conversation back then, because we were paying him like $150,000 to almost $200,000 a year. And he only attended meetings twice a month. But every time you picked the phone up and asked him, you know, what color is the pen today, it was $150. And I mean, you know, most people don't just keep track of all that as they go until you get the bill. Then their argument was, well, we get a lot of kickback stuff because developers pay us back, blah, blah, blah. But the net of it was that we were paying approximately $150,000 to $160,000 a year. This is 5-6 years ago. How long you been with us, Marcus? 8. So that's back then. So back then, the board did exactly what you had suggested, was they assigned 2 trustees to put an RFP out and interview the attorneys and the firms, and bring them back to the board and say, here's our top 3 or whatever, and then the board would pick. That's how Marcus got on here. I think it was me and Terry Hatch who did that particular set of interviews back then. Okay. But we looked closely at that money piece for the same reason. We even entertained strongly bringing an in-house attorney that says, you know, it's cheaper for back then. I could get a pretty good attorney for $150K a year, and in-house, but we didn't have enough work for them to do. They would sit around most of the day. I mean, they could have spurts of workload, but it wasn't a consistent workload. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense to us at that time to bring it in-house and bring it in, which is how we ended up with the current legal structure. Personally, I think the flat rate is better, because I'm not feeling guilty when I call Marcus and ask him what time of day it is. He's not going to charge me an additional $150 for asking that question, where previous attorneys did. But I just put that out there just as general information, because I know quite a few of us lived through that already. And that doesn't say we shouldn't go through it again. But it was quite a process that we went through. So it's just FYI. Just
I already knew all that. But
did
thanks.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
How'd you know that? I didn't.
Because I talked to Helen.
Oh, how did you weren't here?
Well, I didn't know that exactly.
Well, that you went through the
Anyway,
But-
open
anyway.
process. And
But just say honestly, though, 2 of the towns have just hired new attorneys. They went out for an RFP, and it was an arduous journey.
Yes.
You know, they neither one of them are that happy yet. So I don't think there's a plethora of firms out there. I do think that you run a risk when you decide that you want to start dating again, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't think it's just as black and white and it's all just financial. I really don't. But it is a big expense. And I think it was fair to look at it. And I do think if the board wants to look at it, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But I don't know if there's less firms or, less people who are specializing in municipal law. I don't know.
Anything else?
I would just say, if this board doesn't want to, then I'll save it for the next board.
Okay. Thanks for bringing it up. I really appreciate it. All right. I just wanted to say thanks for everyone who came to O'Reilly's ribbon cutting. I think it was really a nice venture. It was great to see their staff, and we had a great time, and they're ready to go and have some great folks that are around them and great businesses that have already ordered lots of parts. And I know that people on the board were there and they bought things there at the time. So I wanted to say thank you. This week is a heavy meetings with Dr. Cog with the Regional Transportation Committee this week, and chairing the actual board this week will be my first time in person. So it'll be exciting to have more than 100 something people there in the room. So I just want to say thank you very much for letting me represent all of you. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please, Melissa.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Hagan,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
and Mayor Willow.
Yes. Thank you. April 13th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees now adjourned at 6:50. We will take a 5-minute break before we start our work session. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you.